What is good, ladies and gentlemen? We are back with a UFC card this Saturday. Glad because last Saturday was pretty boring. I'm not going to lie. Glad to get back onto the grind here. We got UFC Vegas 107, the Apex card to break down. I'm going to let some of you guys get in here. I didn't really push this out on anything, so I know some people will be joining as we go on, but we're going to go through the entire card as we have been doing every week. Given the betting breakdown, we're going to go over the fight, give you my thoughts, and then we'll look at some of the betting odds, see what we could find that we could fire on possibly. I got one bet locked in right now. I got the DFS plays locked in. Overall, the card is looking like an Apex card, to be honest. It's looking pretty low level. Not a lot of trustworthy guys. There are some pretty close lines, which is tempting to take some shots, but we got to be sharp here, boys. We got to be sharp. We can't be just looking at fights, trying to pick winners and playing the line no matter what. And that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to give some breakdowns here, and we're going to go through it all. We'll look at some props as well. There are some props out right now on Bet Online. We always got to check those out. Hopefully we can get something cooking up. But we're going to hit the chat before we hop into the breakdown. And then after we figure out if we're going to go top to bottom or bottom to top, then we're going to jump into it. So, John, how we doing, brother? What's going on? Thank God the fights are back, dude. I like the week off sometimes, but then it's 14 days without any fights. And I know there was road to UFC, but honestly, I'm not really trying to look at these Japanese and Korean guys, and they all have the similar name. They all fight similar, and there's the odds. I'm just not really into road to UFC, so I didn't really try to look at it and find anything that I liked. Sounds like the fights were actually pretty decent though, but it's also at like 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning here. Not really trying to do that at 7 in the morning. Hey Maker, how we doing, brother? Golf ITD, he says. We shall see. Card doesn't look too hot. It is not looking the best. But I think there are some intriguing matchups. I will say that. I mean, I'm not looking at this card and being like, wow, these are all just terrible fights. I'm looking at them like, these are some pretty solid matchups. I'm honestly kind of interested to see how they play out or what the game plans these guys will bring in. Jordan Levitt, a lock? I would not call him a lock, but we'll get into that breakdown a little bit later. Sports Testimony, how we doing, brother? They're making us suffer with this card before they bless us with the upcoming summer cards. That is true. And the next pay-per-view, which is the week after this card, honestly, I looked at that card and I was like, dang, these are some pretty solid fights. Like, I know the women's fight with Juliana Pena, Kayla Harrison is like, Kayla Harrison's a huge favorite, whatever. And O'Malley lost to Murad pretty clearly in the first fight. And that's the main event. But I thought the prelims on that card were actually very intriguing, like some really solid fighters on the prelims. And then I took a look at the betting odds. I was like, oh my God, there's like minus 300 favorite or higher in like almost 70% of the fights. So that's kind of tough. At least we get some playable lines here on the Apex card. Doughboy with the 99-cent donation. I appreciate that, brother. Thanks for popping in. Ryan Scott, my boy Ryan, popping into the chat as well. The next 4-week run will be great. At least it should be very solid. I'm actually going to go to Atlanta on the 14th, I believe. And then I might make it out to Vegas for International Fight Week. We'll see, though. Starry, how we doing, bro? Any card is better than no card. Absolutely. Facts. Bro, if Volk has to defend against the guy he dominated in Mexico, that's literally insane. It is insane. You guys know my take on that. I'm not too excited about a Yair Volk rematch. You saw there's a possibility UFC Noche might not happen in Mexico anymore. Instead of Vegas, they need to move it to Phoenix or San Antonio. Big Mexican presence in those cities. Yeah, I went to a San Antonio card before, and it was basically like being in Mexico. So you are correct in that. Not this card, but curious for another bet. If Pfeiffer is a lock versus Gastelum, I mean, I think he wins, but he's like minus 400 or something, man. So you want to be laying that chalk? I mean, probably could, but it like saying something is a lock doesn't really mean anything if they're minus 400. Like, of course, they're supposed to win the fight. So sure, they might be a lock, but you're not really getting much for it. Am I posting the picks after? So my official picks will be out tomorrow. They're always posted on Wednesday of the fight week. So today is Tuesday. That's when we do the live breakdown, the live betting breakdown, and then we make the official picks, which aren't the actual bets. But I like to talk bets more than picks, dude. Like picks are just they like don't mean anything in my eyes. They really just don't. If you're picking fights, like that's cool, but if you're not making money off of them, then I don't really care. So that's why I like to talk the betting stuff more often. Aaron, Ryan, Zachary, and Diego. Who the hell is Diego? I don't think there's a Diego on this card. But Aaron, I mean, you are disgusting. Honestly, that's a disgusting parlay. That is a disgusting parlay. I would just say that. Call the hotline if you're parlaying Ryan, Amanda, and Zachary Reese. What's going on, Fabrizio? Really hoping Volk doesn't have to fight Yair again, man. And that's what it's most likely going to be, considering Mozart versus Pico is happening. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's probably going to be that. Unless they just throw Jean Silva in there against Volk. Such a huge risk. Yeah, it is a massive risk, honestly. And it's like, I don't want to say the perfect timing for Yair, but like the rematch now between them is probably going to be more competitive just because Volk is still on the decline. I know he just beat Diego Lopez, but I think he's still on a decline. And I actually think Yair is getting better. So it is a huge risk for Volk, but yeah, it's like the easiest opportunity for Yair. I'd rather see Volk versus Arnold Allen. Is Arnold Allen coming off a win? I think he is, right? I think he just beat Giga. Just beat. I think it was a while ago, but if it ain't in Mexico, they should scrap Yair or versus Volk. Yair should be fighting Diego or Allen. I don't know why they don't just do Yair versus Diego as like a co-main event or something, and then put like Brandon Moreno on there or something. I don't know. Like I know it's Noche UFC, so they're gonna have to have a title fight. It's a numbered pay-per-view, I guess. So they're gonna have to have some type of title fight. They could put something else on there though, like just make Yair versus Diego as like the co-main event. Costa is a lock next card. Bet while he is dog. Well, there's many Costas. I don't know what you're saying here. Costa. There's no Costa on the next card. I don't know who you're talking about. You're going to have to give me the first name because there's a lot of Costas in the UFC. Is Arnold Allen dead? I don't know where he is, bro. I don't know where he is. Really interested in seeing a few fights in Baku. Underrated card, underrated fights. I think Bogdan Grad is a fraud and Naimav will beat him. I didn't even know that fight was happening, but that is an interesting one. I'm not a huge believer in Bogdan Grad, but I'm also not a huge believer in Naimov. So we'll see what those odds look like. They don't do it because you're probably begging a weenie. Probably. What fight are you most invested in this weekend? Without a doubt, fight I'm most looking forward to is Klein versus Gamrot. Lightweight division, Gamrot's been around for a while. Ludovic Klein is on a nice long streak. So I think that's the best fight of the weekend. Also, the main event, I know it's not really a fight that's like gonna get the casuals out there, but I think it's probably gonna be a good fight. Like for women's MMA, I think those are two of the young best contenders that the UFC has. So I think they're gonna put on a good fight. Costa versus Spivak. Oh, Waldo. It's Cortez Acosta, not Acosta, bro. Cortez Acosta. You gotta at least get the name right, bro. If you're gonna tell me this guy's a lock, you gotta at least get his name right. You're telling me Costa? It's Waldo Cortez Acosta, not just Costa. I'm not trusting you. Then you saying Costa is a lock and you can't even get his name right. They don't need a Mexican in the main event if you go through every pay-per-view this year so far. None of them have. a fighter from that country. 316 will be the first with O'Malley in the USA. That is pretty true. All right, boys. We're 10 minutes in. I think we're gonna just hop into this, man. We're just gonna hop into this. We gotta, at least hear from the chat. Do we want to go from the top or the bottom? Lately, we've been going from the bottom to the top. So first fight of the night all the way to the main event. And I think that's kind of the way that I like it. Start off with some low level stuff, and then we get into the main event. We kind of get the juices flowing, and then we give, the main event prediction / betting breakdown. We're going to pause on that. Bottom to top, no homo. Absolutely. No Jones. No Jones in this chat, boys. No Jones. I think we all have to hammer Gamrot money line, boys. Buy low spot on Gamrot. Interesting takes. Sports Testimony says top to bottom. If you're ever going to go top to bottom, this is the type of card to do it. Yeah, that's pretty true. That is pretty true. We have done top to bottom before, but honestly, I kind of just like going bottom to top. So we really get the juices flowing. Some people still got to join. They probably don't want to join after we've done the main event type of thing. So bottom to top. I think we're going to go bottom to top again, boys. We're going to go bottom to top. So let's take a look. We got Ryan Dos Santos and Alice Ardeline to start off the night. I don't really look at Ryan Amanda as some great fighter, and Alice Ardeline is pretty bad. So, I think Ryan Dos Santos is probably the better fighter. But you could be the better fighter and still lose. Is Alice Ardeline good enough to beat Ryan Dos Santos? Maybe, but I think I'm just going to call her Ryan Amanda because that's what she's been known by. I think Ryan Amanda is going to have to give her this fight because I think Ryan Amanda is probably the cleaner striker. I think she's probably the better grappler. I think Alice Ardeline has a lot of aggression, a lot of forward pressure. She's fairly durable. She does have some offensive wrestling, but I don't think her jiu-jitsu on the ground is all that great. I think if she's going to get a takedown, she's got to be pretty safe because she could easily get armbarred from guard here. It's low-level women's MMA. That's all we really need to know at this point. Armbar from guard is live. Okay, so if Alice Ardeline goes and takes down Ryan Amanda, she got to watch those arms because Ryan Amanda is probably going to be looking for that low-level women's MMA armbar. But ultimately, Ryan Amanda is minus 275. So is she worth the minus 275 price tag? Probably not, because she does not find ways to separate herself from her competition. She went to back-to-back close decisions against some low-level fighters. Talita Alencar, a solid grappler, but a terrible striker. And she went to a split decision and lost that. Pooja Tomar, terrible grappler, but an okay striker. And she really didn't even try to take her down. And she got outstruck. Like, that's pretty much what it came down to. She kind of got outstruck by Pooja Tomar. Now, Pooja Tomar is terrible, but she's a decent striker. She's aggressive. She throws a lot of volume, and Ryan Amanda just couldn't get past those side kicks. And when she entered the pocket, she had some success, but Pooja Tomar was willing to bite down and throw. Alice Ardeline is willing to bite down and throw. Is she going to have as much success on the feet against Ryan Amanda that Pooja Tomar did? I don't think so. But I still think she can have some level of success. This ultimately comes down to, does Ryan Amanda have some fight IQ? And I think she should be looking to take down Alice Ardeline and try to expose her on the ground, because I don't think Ardeline's grappling is all that great. Will she do that? We literally cannot say, because we are not in their corner and we are not fighting. So let's take a look at the odds here. Amanda, minus 280 now. Minus 285, over 2.5 is minus 450. It probably does go to decision, but let's just be real here. That armbar from guard is live, okay? That armbar from guard is live. And don't forget, Alice Ardeline got hit with some type of body kick in her last fight against Melissa Martinez, which I don't think should have been stopped. Like, she should have probably got TKO'd because it was a body kick. And she kind of looked at the ref and was like, hold on, that was a low blow. It wasn't. So that easily could have been a fight that did not go the distance. It could have been ruled a TKO finish if they're going through the William Gomi and Giannis Gamori rules. But let's just look at some more stuff. So fight doesn't go up plus 285. It's tempting, but I'm not going to play it. Amanda by sub at plus 500 looks somewhat tempting, just because I think she does have some solid jiu-jitsu on the ground that could give Ardeline some troubles, but it's not exactly, as wide as I would want it to be. Maybe you could get a better line later in the week. Ardeline by points plus 235. I mean, what is her money line? Plus 245? Like, what are we doing, Bet Online? What are we doing? So don't play that. Don't play that. Ran Amanda by points minus 140. Most likely outcome probably does happen. But the plus 3.5 for Alice Ardeline doesn't look terrible. Doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look that bad to me. I mean, I would like a plus money number there. I like an even money at least for Ardeline plus 3.5. But she did get 30-27 by Melissa Martinez. So it's not really like she's great at winning rounds. She just has a lot of aggression, a lot of forward pressure. She's going to be there and throwing. And I think it'll probably go to a close decision. So Ran Amanda's the probably going to be the pick. But overall betting angle, I would only really look towards the submission for Ran Amanda. I would not play her money line. Makes no sense to me. And if you like the Ardeline side, I'd probably go plus 3.5 because I think it's going to take some gifts from the judges to, get a clean decision win. And honestly, her decision prop isn't that great either. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that one, boys. I mean, we really don't need to spend too much time on that. We'll go through the chats here before we hop into the next one, which is a lot better fight. Took at Ardeline money line. FedEx me some Zins. Bro stacked on Zin. Dude, these are all empty. My Zin rewards are off the charts right now. You mentioned the sub in low-level women's MMA. I instantly thought of Pooja Tomar getting up-kicked into a sub. Yeah, dude. That one sucked. I hate that one. I really hated that one because I lost my Pooja bet on that. Women's fights to hit decision pays bills, kids. This is what everyone says, but it just doesn't really happen all that often. I mean, we cashed big on Denise Gomes under 2.5 last week, so not exactly the case. Women's MMA can not go to decision. Oh, yeah, Mario's correct. Not lately. What's up, Hey Jive? Hope you're good, dude. Finally fight week again. You damn right. You damn right. We're back on the grind. Don't know why I went to the country accent, but let's look at this one, boys. Markel Medeiros, Balaji Oki. I think this is a really close fight. And I think it just comes down to how is Balaji Oki going to approach this? Because he's coming off the loss where he got guillotined by Chris Duncan. And what he really did in that fight was put the pressure on Chris Duncan, hit him with some counters, hit him with some big shots, and try to overwhelm him with activity and mixing in the takedowns. Ultimately, it kind of cost him because he got a little bit reckless with the takedown and he got caught with the sub. So how does Balaji Oki approach this one? Because I know Markel Medeiros is probably going to approach it the way he approaches every fight, which is use his footwork to dance around the cage, pop shot, and then, enter with some stuff and then get out. He's not a guy that wants to stand in front of you and just hang out in the pocket. He likes to use his movement. Balaji Oki is kind of a guy that likes to stalk you, like cocked and ready to throw. And he'll counter you a little bit, but he's not really like a guy that's going to be slipping and ripping. He's more of a guy that's going to try to counter your kicks with good timing with big punches. So I think Balaji's probably going to have some struggles catching up to Medeiros. But we're in the Apex. It's a smaller cage, so I don't think Medeiros is going to have as much room to work with, that he would like to. So is Balaji going to be able to cut him off, push him up against the cage? I think that's fairly likely. Does he get the takedowns on Medeiros? I think he can get the takedowns, but he doesn't really do anything with it. Like, he can get the takedowns, but he's literally he's not looking for hooks. He's not looking for a takedown and top control time. He's more so looking for take you down and punch you while you're there, and then they just get right back up. So I don't know that his control time is really that great. I guess against the cage, he can cage push a little bit. Markel's takedown defense, I don't think is amazing, but I don't think that Balaji's going to be able to hold him down for long periods of time. I could see a lot of clinching though. I could see, them trading over unders up against the cage. Balaji's having trouble cutting him off, so he kind of wants to pin him up against the cage and control him there. So I think it's going to be a very close fight, and I think Medeiros, as the underdog, might be the side that I would look towards. I'm not really too interested in playing Balaji at minus 175, just because I don't. I mean, look at his wins. Timmy Kwamba, like I know Timmy. I'm not super low on Timmy Kwamba, but that was Timmy Kwamba's UFC debut, I believe, and he was on short notice. He didn't really like blow him out of the water. And I would maybe even rate a win over Austin Hubbard better, than a debuting Timmy Kwamba. So, I mean, Medeiros at plus 150 isn't looking that bad. Oki's been submitted before. I don't think Medeiros is going to submit him, but he can be a little bit reckless. Medeiros has some nice counters. I don't think he's the biggest power puncher out there, but I think he has the ability to land maybe a little bit more on Oki, but Oki has some pretty good striking defense. So, I'm kind of going back and forth on this one. I think it's probably a 50-50 fight. Maybe you could argue Medeiros should be slightly favored, but I think that's more just due to him going to a close fight with Austin Hubbard, which a lot of people are going to look down on. I'm not really going to look down on it because Austin Hubbard fights close with like a lot of people. He's a generalist that's good, like good almost everywhere, but not great at anything. So he's going to be able to go in there and fight competitively with a lot of guys. And Medeiros doesn't have like a grappling to get him out of there on the ground, but he was able to get back up and fight his way through positions and get back to his game. So I'm tempted to play the Medeiros side at plus 150 over under 2.5. I think it probably goes to decision just because I think both guys are good enough defensively to not get absolutely cleaned. And I think they're probably going to be clinching a lot. So Medeiros at plus 150 for the money line doesn't look terrible to me. Medeiros by decision, plus 315. That's not terrible either. It's actually not bad. Medeiros by KO, maybe, but I don't think Balaji at plus 250 for the KO is really that likely, to be honest. I said it on my early picks video, but I believe in both guys. I think they're both fairly solid. So I'm not really looking to fade either guy. But at the current odds, Markel at plus 150 doesn't look too bad. Judges are fucked. Fight goes the distance. What is the fight goes the distance? Minus 155. Not terrible. First fight of the night. Wasn't impressed with Oki, to be honest. I think Markel takes it. I love his point spread plus 3.5. What's the plus 3.5 here? Minus 180. It's probably the safe route. I don't know if there's. I wouldn't really play it. I think I would just take my chances on the money line, considering he's plus 150. To get one of the judges' scorecards at minus 180, it's like, I think if he makes it close, like he should probably win it. Clinch fest, yeah. Oki went to sleep like retard last fight. He will be hungry and might finish Medeiros. Well, I mean, that's one way to look at it. Or he's going to go in there and be a little bit more cautious. Anything can happen. Remember, Kwamba is also 145 or 2, and Oki didn't look too hot. That is true. I don't know what that says. What is the best lock of the week for you? Not doing a lock of the week. Sorry, bud. And the Hubbard fight was at elevation too. It was, yeah. Duncan caught good shots from Oki. Oki was piecing up Chris Duncan before he got submitted. So, I mean, I think Oki has some really solid striking. I like his timing, and I like the way he counters leg kicks. So, that's one thing I'm interested to see how it plays out, because Medeiros does like to throw a lot of low kicks. And Oki, he doesn't really check them. He usually just makes you whiff, or he times them right, and he'll throw straight shots down the middle and catch you off balance. So that is uh, a way that I think Oki can make Medeiros uncomfortable, is countering those low kicks or just making them whiff and making them not effective at all. But yeah, I think Medeiros at plus 150 is probably the side. Do you parlay confidence plays? Nah, not really a big parlay guy, man. I mean, MMA is a very volatile sport, so I don't think. I mean, there's some people that do it. I'm just not really the biggest parlay guy, but I do like to throw some long shot parlays in there. So Professor Parlay does come out to play if you're shooting for the moon. But if I'm going to give out bets to people, I'm not going to be, serious about some parlays. There are some parlays that I do like, and I think this year on my parlays that I've given out, we've done pretty well, but I'm not a guy that really likes to throw in parlays to, give out to other people. I like them for fun, but Oki all day. Hey, Jive, favorite question, every live. Lock of the week. Yeah. I mean, everyone just wants a lock of the week. I mean, I just don't know if I could in good conscience tell you, yeah, this is the lock. Like, some people will take that and run with it, and they'll throw way too much money on it. And then they'll come back to me if it loses, and they'll be like, dude, what the fuck? I'd be like, well, this is why I don't do lock of the weeks. Oki finished since they're in the Apex. Think he'll overwhelm them. Could happen. Bro, tell Maddie to unban me on his YouTube. I mean, if he banned you, he probably did something mean. Long Shot Legend is the parlay guy. Yeah. Just announced co-main event for Nashville. Cater versus Steve Garcia. I'm going to throw down 3 units on Steve Garcia KO. It's a big fight for Steve. Mean Steve. I was a believer way back when, and he's been on an absolute run. The dude that's been cashing tickets. How badly do you think Patchy Mix is going to beat Bautista's ass? I don't know if he's going to beat him, but he's not going to beat his ass, for one. Patchy's not really like a brutalizing striker or a brutalizing ground and pound guy. He's more of a grappler for control time and a submission grappler. So not going to beat his ass, but he could go out there and submit him. Also pay for picks if you want that kind of insight. Yeah, I mean, I'm never going to give out a lock, dude. Like, some people are just too stupid to understand betting. And if you're going to tell them like it's a lock, I don't want to put people down the road of like, throw everything you have on this because it's not losing, and then it loses. Rarely would I ever be that confident in a bet. It's definitely not every week. I could tell you that. All right, let's get into the next one. Kurt Hollabaugh, Jordan Levitt. I'm going back and forth on this one, boys, because the way I see it, Jordan Levitt doesn't have the best takedowns. But is it that bad that he can't take down Kurt Hollabaugh? Because Kurt Hollabaugh has some pretty poor takedown defense. Like, it's not there. It's not there. Not to say he's never stuffed a takedown, but it's not hard to take down Kurt Hollabaugh. It's going to be a weird one, man. This is honestly one of the fights on the card that I'm most looking forward to, just to see how it plays out. I think Jordan Levitt might have some troubles because he's a guy that doesn't shoot very good takedowns. He's more of a guy that wants to hold on to you and kind of find his way to the ground. He's not out there shooting double legs. He's not really out there shooting single legs. He's more so just kind of dropping his level to the ground, holding your legs, and kind of hoping you fall down. That could happen to Kurt because his takedown defense is terrible. But Kurt's also a very solid boxer. Like, if you're that good of a boxer, not to say Kurt Hollabaugh is some amazing boxer, but he does have solid boxing, you should be able to defend takedowns better. Like, you should be able to. But he's 38. I don't expect his takedown defense to be amazing or improved. But I do think he's going to have moments on the feet because Jordan Levitt on the feet, he's effective at range with his kicks. That's pretty much all he throws is kicks. Doesn't really throw his hands. He's effective at range because he does have some nice kicks, and most of them are linear kicks. But outside of his range striking, he doesn't really have a way to set up his takedowns. Like he's not going leg kick 1-2 into the takedown. He's not going overhand into the takedown. He's kind of just like waiting for you to close the distance and then trying to grab a hold of you. Kurt Holloway is going to throw with some intent. And I don't know that Jordan Levitt has really faced any good strikers, man. You know, like it sounds like I'm saying Kurt Holloway is some amazing striker, but he might be the best striker that Jordan Levitt has faced. Let's just keep it a buck. Like Chase Hooper, no. Victor Martinez, no. Patty Pimblett, probably, but they pretty much grappled the entire fight. Trey Ogden, I think Kurt Holloway is probably a better striker than Trey Ogden. Matt Sales, no. Claudio Puelles, no. Matt Wyman, no. Luke Flores, no. Like Jordan Levitt hasn't faced any good strikers. So if he doesn't get the takedowns, I'm not saying he's going to get blown out the water, but he's probably going to lose. And if Jordan Levitt does get the takedowns, can he just top time Kurt Holloway? Like maybe, but when has he ever done that? Like when has he ever just top time somebody to a win? I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. It hasn't happened in the UFC. Is he going to submit Kurt Holloway? I doubt it. I think Kurt Holloway is a pretty good jiu-jitsu player. I don't think he's going to get submitted on the ground. So this is a very, very tough one for me. And I think, if anything, I got to look towards the Kurt Holloway side just because he is the dog. Right now, Kurt Holloway is plus 155, but Kurt went to a very close decision with Alexander Hernandez, who I think would blow Jordan Levitt out of the water. Blow might not have been the best choice of word there, but I think he would beat Jordan Levitt pretty easily. So now am I supposed to look at this fight and be like, well, Kurt Holloway just can't stuff the takedowns. He's cooked. I don't really see it that way. I can see why Jordan Levitt would win this fight and why he should be the favorite, because I think there's a clear path for him. But if the clear path doesn't work out within the first round, well, I don't know that he's going to be able to adjust and win this fight. So I'm kind of tempted to go the Kurt Holloway route. I think there's just more ways for him to win. He can win a decision based on damage. He can knock out Jordan Levitt. What's Jordan Levitt's win condition? Probably a top time decision victory. I guess maybe he could submit him, but I highly doubt it. And Jordan Levitt's a minus 180 favorite. So I know Jordan Levitt's the younger guy, and maybe that's why the line is the way it is. But I just backed Kurt Holloway at plus 180 or whatever it was against Alexander Hernandez, and that turned out to be a 50-50 fight. And now he's going up against Jordan Levitt, who I think is way worse than Alexander Hernandez. Am I crazy here, Chad, or what? Is Kurt Holloway a live dog? Like, I'm pretty sure he is. Does it go the distance, minus 130? That looks decent. Kurt Holloway by KO plus 525 is interesting. Very interesting. There was an angle I was looking at here. Kurt Holloway inside the distance, decision, no action, minus 105. Doesn't look terrible. Doesn't look terrible at all, considering I don't really think Jordan Levitt's going to submit him. I don't think he's going to knock him out. I think if he does win, it's probably a top time decision, and Kurt Holloway, that bet would get refunded. But if Kurt Holloway finishes him, we win. There's an angle I'm debating. Holloway inside the distance plus 300. I'm just not ready to write off Kurt Holloway. Like, we all know his takedown defense isn't that great, but that's how he is in every fight. Every fight. And he still manages to make fights fairly close. I just don't really trust Jordan Levitt's wrestling to get it done. I just don't. give you guys a lock in, Ron. Not gonna lie, I think you changed my view on the Jordan Levitt fight. Holloway too comfortable on his back the most of the time. He is too comfortable on his back, but like, I don't know, man. Like, is it that crazy to say that Kurt doesn't get taken down with ease against Jordan Levitt? I don't think so. Like, I don't think Jordan Levitt's takedowns are something that you just can't get around. Pass for me. Loser gets cut. Jordan Blanchfield and Vieira. You ever swept the UFC card? I have, but that was a while ago. Like that angle? Levitt is soft. I would pick a dog here. Pitbull versus the Law. What do you think? Crazy chat to throw in there when we're talking about Kurt Hollabaugh and Jordan Levitt. But I think Zalal would style on him. Jordan Levitt just looks like a guy who's going to lose. I mean, he's definitely not an intimidating figure. I've actually met Jordan Levitt. I met Jordan Levitt, I want to say like a year and a half ago in Vegas at Karate Combat. He was wearing a turtleneck. And he was kind of standing there. I was like, dude, I think that's Jordan Levitt. So I said, what up, Jordan? And he comes over. He's the nicest guy. Nicest guy. But I think he was like surprised that somebody recognized him. Like, I think it might have made his night. I was like, yo, Jordan, what's up? Like, how you doing? In his turtleneck, I don't know. He was talking about one of the Karate Combat guys, but cool guy. Nice guy. We'll see if it works out for him, but to me, I think it's a dog or pass, and we might have to ride the Kurt train one more time, boys. We might have to. Let's get into the next one. Trevin Giles, Andreas Gustafsson. So Gustafsson was supposed to fight Jeremiah Wells. So Trevin Giles is stepping in on short notice. It's a 180 catchweight bout. I think I really want to, look at the side on Trevin Giles, just considering he's got more UFC experience, way more UFC experience, way more high-level experience, and Gustafsson's making his UFC debut. But I think Gustafsson is just like a different type of animal, man. Like, he just doesn't give a fuck. He just walks you down. He doesn't even walk you down. He kind of just sprints across the cage, grabs a hold of you, and then he just does not let go. And he's just in there, in the clinch, up against the cage. He's going to work the clinch. He's a clinch monster. He just wants to be in tight with you, make you feel his strength and his pressure, overwhelm you, and drown you. Now, if he can't do that, he's fucked, because Andreas Gustafsson has terrible striking. His striking from range looks disgusting. It is bad. But he knows what he's good at, and that's sprint across the cage, get a hold of you, put you through hell in the clinch, and drown you. Is Trevin Giles going to be able to get off the clinch? I don't think so. Is he going to be able to dance around the cage so that Gustafsson can't clinch him up? I don't think so. We're at the apex. It's a smaller cage. I think Gustafsson's probably going to sprint across the cage, grab a hold of him, knee him to the body, elbow him to the head, punch his gut while he's holding on to him. I think he's just going to put him through a clinch fight. And I think Gustafsson's probably going to win. I know it's tough because Giles is, seasoned veteran, but he's taken the fight on short notice. He hasn't had any training to deal with a very, I don't want to say it's a unique style, but it's a style that you probably have to train for, because it's a style that is not usually used in the UFC, of literally just hold on to you, clinch you, and put you through hell. I think Gustafsson probably gets this one done, and I think he probably finishes him in round 2 or 3 just from wearing him down. Gustafsson looks like he's on all the roids too. Looks like he eats every single steroid available. Gustafsson right now, minus 155. I'm tempted to play that. Gustafsson by KO plus 175. That's not that great, but I guess it's not terrible. What's Gustafsson round 2? Gustafsson round 2 KO plus 650 plus 900 round 3. You'll probably be able to get a better line on, another sportsbook later in the week. Gustafson minus 3.5. I think he probably finishes it. I think he probably wins most of the minutes because he's going to be in the clinch. He's probably going to be winning most of the rounds as well. I mean, Giles could maybe catch him with something coming in because Giles has some really nice straight shots, but I'm just not a big Giles guy. Never have been. I know he's fought really good competition and Gustafson's making his UFC debut, but I think Gustafson comes in here, clinches him up, puts him through hell, and finishes him in rounds 2 and 3. So Gustafson money line minus 155, Gustafson KO, Gustafson KO 2-3. You know, if he does make it to a decision, props to Giles, but I just think that pace and that type of style is going to wear down a guy pretty quickly who was not, training for a fight, who wasn't training for this opponent. I think Gustafson probably gets him out of there. Give me Gustafson, boys. Minus 155 on the money line doesn't seem too bad to me. But I was interested to see the original matchup, Jeremiah Wells and Andreas Gustafsson. Let's hit the chat. Some UFC fighters are not really fighters. They're just good athletes and specialists in any martial arts, but they don't have it inside them. That type very often sells. Okay. Gustafson is old brother of old Gustafson? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Picking Ludovic Klein says, I need help with maths with my face there. There you go. We're going to get to that one real soon. Giles is washed. Giles is pretty washed, man. I mean, he's going to be able to beat, some of the lower level guys, but that's about it, man. I don't think Gustafson's the guy that's just going to go out there and lose all of his UFC fights. Like, I think he's going to be able to win some UFC fights. And he's 34, man. He's got to go in there and make a statement. My boy Nick in the IG chat, I miss you at the gym too, brother. I've been hitting the bag here and there, trying to stay sharp, but nothing like being in the gym, if you know what I'm saying, boys. DFS lines dropped crazy early this week. Yeah, kind of. I mean, Better had some out like last week, but a couple fights got canceled, so I was glad we stayed away from those. And we got them locked in on Monday. So yesterday wasn't that crazy. Usually lock them in on Monday, Tuesday. Next fight, we got Ketlin Vieira and Macy Chasson. I'm interested to see Macy against a decent level of competition here. Because I know that the fight with Mayra Bueno Silva got stopped with the cut, which is like, it sucked, but it's also, I don't want to call it a fluke because it wasn't a fluke. It was obviously a very nicely timed elbow on the ground, and it split her open. She probably could have continued, but that probably would have ripped her face off if she kept, trying to elbow it and punch it. But it was a nice win. And this is a matchup that I think is going to be very boring. I think it's going to be very, very boring. This is not a fight that I'm going to be looking forward to and just be like, yeah, can't wait to watch it. It's probably going to be a lot of clinching. Vieira has a 88% takedown defense, great takedown defense. And I think if she does stuff all those takedowns, it's going to be a lot of clinching, man. These are two girls that I don't think are the best distance strikers, and they're not really girls that want to be striking at range. They like to use their physicality to either get you to the ground and be in top position or be in the driver's seat in the clinch. And I think Macy's probably going to get the better of the clinch exchanges, and I think she's probably going to be able to get the better of the striking exchanges as well, because Vieira is a little bit slow. I think Macy's got a little bit better footwork. I think her hands are a little bit sharper. But Vieira is a girl that likes to, be the one walking forward. So there's another aspect there. It's at the apex, so she's probably going to be able to cut off Macy with, I don't want to say relative ease, but a lot easier than if, we're in a big cage. Macy's probably going to be able to outstrike her with just faster hands and longer strikes. She's got a reach advantage. But I think this fight mainly takes place in the clinch, and I think Macy's probably going to get the better of it. I mean, she is huge for the weight class. 3 inches taller, 4 inches reach. She can dig those underhooks, use the clinch work. Even if she doesn't get the takedowns, I think she's probably going to win, minutes with the clinch work. And Vieira is content to be in the clinch a lot, even if she's losing. She kind of has a tough time getting off the cage. We saw it against Kayla Harrison. Kayla Harrison wasn't having success with the takedowns, but she was still able to clinch her up. Vera has some nice elbows and stuff in the clinch, but ultimately, this is just a disgusting fight, man. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not really going to have a hot take on it either. I'm not confident in either side. I think it's a clinch fest that goes to decision, and whoever does the more damage in the clinch, I think, is probably going to win. Who can bloody the other girl up? I don't know. I think maybe MGK here, Macy Chiasson, probably going to be the one getting her hand raised, but I don't know if I'm going to be into that. So, minus 118. I think it's a pretty 50-50 fight. Ultimately, it's just disgusting, boys. I think it's probably just a pass overall. Fight goes to decision, minus 300. It is women's bantamweight, so, I mean, they do have some pop on their shots. Vieira's been knocked out before. Chiasson has been submitted before. So it's not completely out of the realm. What's Vieira by decision? Or not decision, by submission. Vieira by sub 750. I just don't really see it happening, boys. Honestly, just disgusting fight. I think we can just get that one out of our minds and just not really talk about it too much. Giles was piecing up Prates until he wasn't. That is true. Do I train people? I do not. But I probably could, honestly. Better, yeah. What's hey jive mean? It's the first three letters of my first name, first three letters of my last name, and my first initial. Hey jive. Parlay all the chick fights to go over 2.5. Easy money, says Josh, until one girl gets submitted or knocked out. Seems you are putting a lot of emphasis on the small cage for a couple matchups. Did you notice that big of a difference in cage size? I absolutely did. Absolutely. Because I've been inside the big cage in an arena, and when I went to the Apex for the last card, we got to walk in the Apex. Way smaller. Way smaller. Like it's a big difference, man. It is a really big difference. So that was something that, was kind of eye-opening. You get a little bit of some experience at the Apex. You see it in person, and I've seen a bigger cage in an arena. Apex was way smaller. Way smaller. Macy striking's not that bad. She looked good in some fights, like versus Norma. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I actually remember Macy from The Ultimate Fighter, and they were looking at this girl like she was an absolute monster, and I thought she was going to be really good too. She's not bad. Like, she's solid. She's right up there in the top 5. So, yeah, I mean, she's definitely a capable striker. I think she's probably going to win most of the striking. All right, let's move on. Disgusting. MGK for the win. All right, we got Jafel Filio Alan Nascimento to end the prelims. Interesting one here, boys. And I really hate to say it, but I'm not going to have another strong take because I think this is a pretty 50-50 line. I mean, I don't really think Alan Nascimento is going to come out here looking like some super improved version. But there is a possibility, because he's been off for 2+ years, that he comes back better with more skills. But he's been riddled with injuries. There's been so many pullouts or cancellations that he's had to deal with. But he looks like he's in insane shape. If you checked out his IG, I mean, this guy is huge for the flyweight division. And he looks absolutely shredded up, massive right now. So this looks like he's in good shape coming into this one. Hopefully makes it past the scales and into the cage on Saturday night. But Jafel's been off for a little bit as well. I think both guys are, aggressive strikers that can be hit. And I say aggressive as in, like, there's not a lot of thought process to their striking. They just kind of go out there and throw and react to stuff. Their grappling, I think, is pretty similar. I would say Nascimento is maybe the better scrambler just being more comfortable in all these exchanges. Like I remember when he fought Tajir Ulanbekov. Ulanbekov had that dude in a mounted guillotine, and I don't know how that guy got out of there because it looked like his head was about to pop off, but he just stayed calm, rolled through it, got out of it. And that was a fight that took place mostly on the ground, like all grappling. And Nascimento held his own, but he was just getting top time for a little bit too much. Going up against the Dagestani, you're if your main base is jiu-jitsu, you're probably just going to get top timed and they're just going to fight off all the submissions. Filio, very good, very solid submission grappler. Nascimento, also very solid submission grappler. I don't know that either one is going to catch each other with some type of submission. If I was going to favor somebody to do that, I would probably say Nascimento, but I don't have like a ton of confidence that Nascimento is going to go in there and just, submit him with ease. I think there's probably going to have to be a lot of exchanges that happen. One guy's cardio fails him a little bit. One guy makes a mistake, later on in the fight, and one guy capitalizes. And I think it's probably going to be Nascimento if that does happen. On the feet, Jafel, I would say, probably has more thought to his striking. Nascimento is more of a kicker from range, but he is big, man. He is big, and he can take a shot. He's never been finished. All of his losses come by decision. So I think Nascimento might be the rightful favorite, but I don't really see him as somebody that I would want to back as a favorite, considering he's been off for 2 years. And I don't think he has some massive advantage in this fight, but I think he should be slightly favored. Let's look at the odds. Nascimento's minus 155. I would pretty much chalk it up as like a 50-50. You could maybe say Nascimento minus 120, minus 125, but not much of a favoritism towards Nascimento. So maybe if you like Filio, plus 135 is not terrible, but I'm not too excited about him. I think he's a solid striker with solid jiu-jitsu, but he's not really going to have much of an advantage, in my opinion, in this fight. Over 2.5 at minus 165. I wouldn't really be tempted on that just because I think both guys are so good that, maybe one guy makes some mistakes. If one guy makes a mistake on the ground, the other one's going to capitalize. So the submission is going to be live for both guys, but it could just turn out that, they negate each other's submissions because they're that good. Nascimento by sub plus 350. That's not terrible. I mean, Jafel's been subbed a few times. We saw him almost tear Makhayev's knee off, and then he turned around and got subbed when Makhayev had like one leg. So Nascimento could maybe take over late. I think Filio is a little bit fragile at times. I remember the Barres fight. He should have got knocked out in the first round because he took like 2 body shots, fell to his back, and was like doing the whole jiu-jitsu thing. And Mark Goddard was like, dude, get up. Like, he's not coming down to the ground. You have to get up. And he was taking forever to get back up, and like almost to the point where he almost got knocked out in round 1 against Barres. But then he just came back and started throwing wild shit, took down Barres, and then submitted him. So even if he gets knocked down or if things aren't going well for Filio, he can battle back. Ultimately, I think Nascimento is probably the rightful favorite. I think it's a little bit wide. I think plus money, plus 105 for the fight to not go the distance. Considering Filio's only been to like 2 decisions in his entire career, I don't think he's been into a decision in years, man. I don't think it's been. I'm going to have to look at this. Jafel Filio. Got to get past all the ads on Tapology first. Thank you very much, Tapology. Filio hasn't been to a decision since 2014. Damn. A long time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 fights in a row. Jafel Filio has not gone to a decision. Yeah, I might have to play that. Plus 105 is not bad. Not bad. Let's talk about Filio. I love his line right now. I think he's a much better grappler. I wouldn't say he's a much better grappler, but he's a good grappler. Like the under 2.5. Hey, there we go. We got some love for the under. You like Alon? Apex log was really cool, man. Cool. Glad you enjoyed. Alon doesn't strike. He really doesn't, but he can. Did you see Macy said Aaron was gifted decisions? Funny to hear that. Yeah, that is funny. Filio super crafty on the ground. I thought he was going to finish Makayev. He is crafty. Yeah, that's funny as fuck. Alon is big, dude. Nascimento going to look like a man versus a boy. If he can make the weight, we'll see. What's it like being ethnically vague and handsome? Bet it feels good. I get attacked by dogs at random intervals during the day. That sucks for you, man. Never been attacked by a dog. Hopefully it never happens. You'll see Filio's grappling, bro. Strength doesn't necessarily mean he's going to win. That's true. That's true. Filio just has to keep it standing and he wins. I don't know if he's going to like run away with it if he keeps it standing, but yeah, we'll see. Can we call you Hayden? Hey, Jive, hard to type because of autocorrection. Call me whatever you want, bro. Call me whatever you want. Let's go to the main card. Before we get to the main card, we're going to cut the IG Live. So if you're in the IG Live, come on over to YouTube. There's a link in my bio. There's a link in my bio. Come over to YouTube. Your chats will be read on screen. We're going to remove the IG Live and finish the main card out on YouTube and X. I appreciate y'all for joining me tonight on the UFC Vegas 107 Blanchfield versus Barber betting breakdown. If you haven't already, please hit the like button for me. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We're on the cusp of cracking 25,000 subscribers. So if you're not subscribed, please hit the subscription button for me. Hit the like button for me. It goes a long way. We're almost an hour in here. I'm probably going to give you an hour and a half, almost 2 hours of my time tonight. So least you could do is throw me a like because we've had some time to look at these fights. So I'm pretty dialed in on everything that I need to know about these guys. So some of these takes might not be super strong just because I don't really think you could have a strong take on a lot of these. But we're going to go through all the angles with the betting and hopefully you get something out of it. Let's look at the next one. First fight on the main card, Zachary Reese, Dusko Todorovic. Zachary Reese is minus 250. Zachary Reese, he shaved his mullet. Why would you shave your mullet? Now, I'm a fellow buzz cut boy. All right. So I'm all for the buzz cut. But Zachary Reese's mullet was pretty nice mullet. I got to give him that. And then he just shaved it. And then he got knocked out by Bakoyev. And it wasn't even like a knockout. The dude got taken down and he got ground and pounded out from guard. That is not a good look. Not a good look at all. And now he's minus 250. I get Dusko Todorovic is not a great fighter, man. The guy gets hit pretty easily. He doesn't have the best wrestling. He doesn't have the best takedown defense. But all he's got to do is hit Zachary Reese with a takedown, throw some shots from guard, and he might be TKO'd on the ground. Like, I think Zachary Reese's durability is a real concern. And Dusko, he's getting KO'd in the first, but he's not going out with one punch. Like, he's getting hit because he's very hittable, and he's just getting overwhelmed by these guys that are vicious. Like Chidi Njokuani, vicious. Mansour Abdul Malik, vicious. And the other one was a knee injury. So, I think Zachary Reese is probably the more talented fighter. I think he's probably the guy with more upside here. The better future in the UFC. I think he belongs in the UFC. He's going to put on fun fights. He's got a huge frame. He's got jiu-jitsu skills. He's got big power on the feet. He's going to go out there and make something happen in the first round, whether that's him getting finished or him finishing his opponent. But he's minus 250, and Zachary Reese is not a guy that I'm looking to play at chalk. So is there anything on Dusko's side that I could really get to and be like, yeah, this is how we can make some money? Not really, man. Not really. I guess maybe you could take down Zachary Reese, survive the submission attempts, and look to ground and pound, but I just don't really trust Dusko to do it. So For me, it's just a pass overall on the money line. Under 1.5 at minus 200. It's getting pretty chalky, but I think it probably does hit. The way that I think this could be nice, right here, boys. Zachary Reese by submission. That could be the play because, like I said, Dusko's not getting one punch knocked out. Like the lights aren't just going out. He's getting knocked down and then getting, TKO'd on the ground or followed up with big shots. If Zach Reese hits him with something that like sparks him a little bit and he falls to the ground or he shoots a sloppy takedown, Zachary Reese is going to be right there looking for some type of submission because he loves to jump the submissions. Zachary Reese by sub plus 475 might be a nice look, especially when the KO is minus 125. Reese round 1 plus 155. Possible, highly possible. The only way I really see this fight going well for Dusko is if he gets some grappling going, or if he just straight up clips him with a shot and puts Zachary Reese out. Because I do think the durability is a problem for Zachary Reese. But ultimately, I think the best way, or the best value, I think, on this fight is Reese by sub. Because he loves to go to the subs, man. He does. I said this before in the long shot. The fight that seems to not go a distance goes to one. I think this one does. This one. You think this one could go to a decision? Very possible. If Zach Reese doesn't spark him. Or if he doesn't get sparked. I mean, it's tough. I think both guys have their durability concerns. Both guys have some holes. I think you would have to get past the first 7.5 minutes. Both guys would have to be kind of tired, and then turns into like a sloppy fight a little bit. This is picks give us bet. Reese moneyline. Says lock. Says haymaker. Reese round 1 KO. Bro got slam KO'd by Brundage. Yeah, I'm telling you, boys. I mean, it could happen here. It could happen here. Dusko goes for the takedown. Zachary Reese pulls for like a guillotine. Throws up the triangle. Dusko picks him up and slams him again. That'd be funny. Georg Vartanov. Bro, tell Maddie to unban me, please. I'll lift the curse. You put a curse on Maddie because he banned you? That's funny. I appreciate the $5 dono, though. I ain't going to block you here. I'll tell you that. I don't even know how to block people on YouTube. Or ban people. I guess. Is there a way? Oh, I guess there is a way. I don't think I've ever done it, though. Dusko washed. Me, papi, no español. Very little español. Sub is live. I'm telling you that, boys. Sub is live. Reese is not losing. I mean, definitely could lose. Dustin Jacoby wins. Oh, we're almost up there. We're at the next fight. He's already jumping to the next fight. Matty, easy money. Matty, easy money. All right, boys. Let's hop into the next one. We got Dustin Jacoby. Bruno Lopes. Or Lopez. I'm probably just going to say Lopez because I think that's just what my brain's going to say. But this one is, I think it should go one way. But there is an outcome that I think is possible. I don't know how likely it is, just because I don't think the opponent is very high caliber. But I think Dustin Jacoby should knock this dude out in round 1. I think he should. But the only thing holding me back from it is that Bruno Lopez has like such a weird it's almost like he's uncoordinated. Like he kind of looks clumsy in there. That, maybe the reads from Dustin Jacoby aren't going to be completely accurate because he's looking at this dude. Like if you've ever sparred before, if you fight a guy or spar a guy that's goes to the gym and he has like good technique, like you kind of know what to expect. Bruno Lopez is so clumsy and weird in the way that he does stuff. You don't know what to expect. So it's kind of hard to like get your reads and find the timing right or get your movement right, get your footwork right, because this guy's doing weird stuff. It's very weird. Lopez is 14-1. Like, I don't think he's a bad fighter, but I just don't really think he's good. And I don't know that his wrestling is that good. I know he just got what, 5 takedowns or something in his last fight, but he shot like 14 and he didn't really do a ton with the takedowns. Like, if he's going to come in here looking to take down Dustin Jacoby, can he do it? I think he probably can, but how effective is he going to be at doing that? And is he going to have the right entries? Because I think Jacoby's probably going to be able to time a nice right hand down the pipe or a nice left hook and clip Bruno Lopez and knock him out in round one. Bruno Lopez could also knock out Dustin Jacoby because at this point in Jacoby's career, everything that he gets hit by, he's kind of like wobbling all over the place. So there is, some upside for Bruno Lopez to find a knockout here because he's a very herky-jerky, clumsy striker, but he does have power. And even if he doesn't land it, he could have some grappling success. It's almost like a DDP. Like, it's almost like some plot armor that Bruno Lopez has. I mean, he's been knocked out before. This is only loss, but it's almost like this dude is so weird in the way that he fights that guys are kind of thrown off by it and aren't able to take advantage of it. But I think Jacoby should be able to knock him out. Like, if we're talking striking skill for skill, Jacoby is levels above this guy. But he's older. He's probably less durable. And in the small cage, if Lopez closes that distance, throws something heavy, hits him with something, level changes, gets him down to the ground, then it could go south for Jacoby pretty quickly. I'm looking at this. I'm seeing Jacoby at minus 185. I'm like, I'm not really interested in taking Jacoby on the money line. If I was going to take Jacoby, I'd take him by KO, and I'd probably take him by KO in round 1 or 2. Most likely round 1. Jacoby round 1 KO is plus 450. That's honestly not that bad. More so, I'm kind of leaning towards the under at minus 125. I think Lopez could catch Jacoby with something. I think Jacoby could catch Bruno Lopez more likely early on. So I'm kind of leaning towards the under 2.5 as a play. Jacoby round 1 knockout is plus 450. What's Lopez? Oh my God. Lopez round 1 knockout is plus 1150. That is tempting. Is there a fight ends round 1 or something? I don't see it. I got to ditch the Chino. I think there's violence on this fight, man. And Bruno Lopes, not a terrible submission grappler on the ground either. Like, he has some jiu-jitsu. I know this isn't the card, but super excited for McKinney versus Slava Claus. Yeah, that should be an interesting one. Bruno Pack, Lopez and Reese, moneyline. His 14 wins are bums. They are pretty much bums. I'm not going to lie. I mean, one of them was Gregory Rodriguez, but that was a long time ago. Yeah, Gregory Rodriguez in 2014. I mean, he had a 6-year layoff, man. A 6-year layoff. He was, 6-0. And then he didn't fight for 6 years between 2015 and 2021. Most of them are bums. I will 100% agree with you on that. But he's a big dude. Last fight, he beat a Dagestani. I bet on him in his last fight. He was like a plus 220 dog, and he cashed, boys. Missed your take on the Waldo Cortez fight. Very briefly, could you repeat your take on that fight? I didn't have a take, but that's not on this card. Not on this card. Next card. My name, he does. Haymaker, round 1, Lopes. Lopez is out. Dude, if Lopez... I mean, that number is pretty nuts. Lopez, round 1 KO, plus 1150. Whew. Just clinch, yeah. Fights... Good friend of yours says he doesn't think Spivak will get the takedowns. I'm also kind of on the same page there. We're talking Waldo. Wow. Lopez is one of the worst fighters in UFC. Anyone picking him as a casual. Yeah, I mean, I didn't pick him. And I did say he's he's so unorthodox, man. Like it looks terrible. It looks awful. It looks disgusting, honestly. I really think Jacoby, if we're living in like a simulation type of fight, like Jacoby should knock this dude out in round one. Like that's how bad Bruno Lopez looks. But we have to remember this is a fight. Like it's a cage fight. It's not just based on your actual skills. Spivak easy W, dang. Roberto Perez, shout out. Hey, Jive, I've been up for a whole month on DFS plays because of you, my guy. Let's keep it rolling, my boy. The triangle of Gaji, Lopez, and Ibero makes no sense. Gaji beat Ibero, Ibero beat Lopez, and Lopez beat Gaji. That is so funny. That is so funny. Going to pick Kai Kara France to beat Pantoja. Good luck. Everyone bring it up. That's what I was thinking, dude. People are talking about Waldo Cortez Acosta and Sergey Spivak on this card. Like, geez, man, is it really that bad? DFS is daily fantasy, my boy. If you have not gotten the daily fantasy sauce yet, I'm inviting you to the barbecue cookout. All right, it's every Saturday. Jacoby lost decision incoming. Okay. Got a feeling Ramiz Brahimaj spokes Billy Goff. Well, here we go. We're on to the next one. Billy Ray Goff supposed to fight Seokhyun Ko, and Ramiz Brahimaj supposed to fight Oban Elia. Both guys had visa issues, so now we are at the point where we got Billy Ray Goff versus Ramiz Brahimaj, and Billy Ray Goff is a minus 340 favorite. I love me some Billy Goff. I love Billy Goff, man. Like, how could you watch a Billy Goff fight and not love the way that he fights? It's all forward pressure. It's boxing combinations. He's in your face. He's ripping to the body. He's throwing leg kicks. He's mixing in takedowns. He's trying to be in your face, making you work at all times. But it is a risky style to play because with that type of style, you can make a lot of mistakes. You can get hit with big shots. You can fall into a takedown. You can get countered. You can get put on your back. Anything can happen. If you're going to be that active and that in somebody's face, you're bound to make mistakes. Can Ramiz Brahimaj make him pay for those mistakes is the question. I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I'm not really sold on Ramiz, knocking out Mickey Gall and all of a sudden he's like some amazing striker. He's always been an okay striker, but he's never effective after round one. All of his wins, except for like one, come in round one. So if Billy Ray Goff can survive round one, I mean, I think he's probably going to run away with this once it hits rounds 2 and 3. Maybe Ramiz is making some improvements. I know he changed camps, training with Bilal at Valley Flow. That's cool. But that was a round 1 knockout against Mickey Gall. Is he going to go in there and knock out Billy Ray Goff? I don't think so. My biggest worry would be that Ramiz gets Billy down to the ground and takes his back. That would be my biggest worry. But I think Billy's probably going to be able to put the pressure on Ramiz, make him uncomfortable, take over as the fight goes on, and get himself a W. Slip and Rip says live betting angle. I do agree with that. I think that could be a nice live betting angle. Billy Goff is a bigger version of Trevor Peek, both wild men who always go forward, but not the most technical. I think Billy's way more technical than Trevor Peek. Billy has some nice, crisp boxing. It's just, he's there to be hit. So, I mean, he just kind of walks through it. Ramiz gained aura when he put the little wet hat on and Rogan's bald head. That is true. I wouldn't fault anybody for taking a shot at Ramiz at plus 265, just considering, I don't think he's going to be severely outclassed in the striking early on, but I think Billy will start to take over as the fight goes on. I'm honestly kind of interested in the under 1.5 plus 135 because I think Ramiz could maybe get a finish round one, make him pay, either with a takedown, back take, submission, or he could, hit him with a big shot, club and sub type of thing. But I also think if Billy starts to put it on him, Ramiz might just want the door because Billy puts on a pressure really quickly, and he's in your face. He's in your face right from the bell. There's no feel out. And once that fight starts, a lot of times if you get hit with that first punch and it hits you really hard, and you don't take it as well as you would later in a fight when you've been getting hit for the last 12 minutes. That first punch that hits you hard, you might just go out right away. Under 1.5 doesn't look terrible. Brahimai by sub is plus 450. Dang. Brahimai round one sub at plus 1,000. That is up there, boys. Plus 1,000 for Brahimai round one sub is interesting. I remember playing the sub against Trey Waters. Or I played Trey Waters by sub against Billy Goff. I think it was like plus 650. And he had him in a guillotine in round 2. And I thought that was going to be locked in, but I think he just gave up on it. I think Billy round 2, 3. I mean, round 3 KO for Billy is plus 650. That's terrible. Like, that's so bad. I mean, they think it could really come any time. What's Brahimai round 1 KO? 1,800? Damn! Took Ramiz money line. Billy, super underrated fighter. Dude's a dog. Gonna make it look easy, says Noah. Price on books, though. That's crazy. Billy gonna kill a body. Took 4 dogs this cards, 2 cashes, and I'm up. Billy round 2. Goff plus Dustin Jacoby minus 110. You should call the hotline for me. Should you call the hotline for me? I don't think that's terrible. It's not the worst. Could definitely be worse. Billy sub 1-2, good sprinkle. Billy sub. What's the Billy sub? I don't think he's going to sub him, though. Billy sub round 1 or 2. I mean, those numbers really aren't even that good. Juice it. Did he sub him? Billy been subbed before? Not as a professional. Yeah, I think you're thinking about a different guy, but Billy KO 1-2. Billy is getting that ITD. Card so trash, it got Hey Jive yawning. Dude, I'm tired, bro. I'm tired. I think we got to hop into the co-main event, but for this one, boys, I think it's Billy Ray Goff. Ramiz is just not effective after round 1, but if you're going to play Ramiz, you play him early. Pretty much what it comes down to. This is where it gets interesting. This is where we actually get some high-level shit, okay? Mateusz Gamrot taking on Ludovic Klein. I believe on my early picks video, I was, leaning towards Gamrot. I was like, it might be a nice buy low spot on Gamrot. I don't think Ludovic Klein has faced any good grapplers in the UFC, but I don't know, boys. Jonathan, I don't think it's time to hammer Gamrot, dude. I don't think it is. Man. Here's the way. Gamrot, if Gamrot had a better ability to control his opponents on the ground, then I would be willing to lay the chalk on Gamrot. But he doesn't. He's not a control grappler. This guy gets the takedowns, and he has no control. Ludovic Klein has, for one, great takedown defense. Now, I don't think he's faced any grappler like Mateusz Gamrot, but Gamrot does not hold people on the ground, man. Like, he can get the takedowns, but he can't do anything with it. He doesn't have submissions. At least he hasn't shown them. I don't really think he's the best submission guy. He doesn't have great ground and pound. And I think Ludovic Klein's going to be able to get back up to his feet. He's very strong in the clinch. He's also shorter. So I don't think Gamrot's going to have an easy time getting in on the hips or getting to a leg against Ludovic Klein. And I think Klein's striking at range is going to allow him to have success, as well as forcing Gamrot to shoot from longer ranges from the outside. Now, I know we're in the smaller cage at the apex, and maybe that does favor Gamrot, but I think Ludovic Klein is solid enough in the clinch to make Gamrot pay a little bit. Gamrot's 34 years of age. He's been knocked down 5 times in the UFC. He's been knocked down 5 times in the UFC. Ludovic Klein has a really nice left hand down the pipe. He has a really nice body kick, real nice head kick. Got a solid jab too. I mean, I think this guy is such a tank at 155. The reason guys aren't able to take him down is because he's so low to the ground. He has such a strong base, and he has great knees up the middle and great kicks up the middle as well. So he's able to keep you at range while being effective, and guys have to shoot from a long ways away, and he's able to stuff those. Now, Gamrot's going to get takedowns here. But like I said, he doesn't have control time. Like, he doesn't know how to control guys on the ground. All he knows how to do is get the takedown and then hold on to you. But he's not the best at holding on to him. So at the current odds, man, I think Ludovic Klein is the side. I think Ludovic Klein at what, +1, I guess it's +130 now. It was a little bit better yesterday. I think it was +140. +130 for Klein, not bad, boys. Not bad. I think Ludovic Klein has some real upside to find a knockout here over Gamrot, who has shown issues with his durability. I think Gamrot's cardio is not the best. I think he does tend to slow down as fight goes on. I think Klein's cardio is solid. He's not a cardio monster. He's a guy that likes to, fight at somewhat of a slower pace and just kind of control the fight with his weapons. But I think Klein gets this one done, boys. I think Klein has really good upside to win a damage-based decision. I think he has the upside to finish Gamrot. What does a Gamrot win look like? Spamming a bunch of takedowns, chain wrestling. Well, I think if he gets a takedown on Ludovic Klein, Klein will be back up within a minute, if not less. And then he's back up against the cage. He's going to be in the clinch. He's going to be able to dig those underhooks. He's going to be able to muscle up Gamrot, who is a physical guy, but I don't think he's like an overwhelmingly physical dude. And then he's going to be able to get back to work. I think Klein at +130 is not bad. I think you could do a lot worse on this card than Klein at +130. Damn, you were picking Brahima. Gamrot legacy fight. Klein will shut the lights, says Jorik. Gamrot striking isn't that bad. It's not, but it's also not effective. It's not bad, but it's not effective, and he's at a durability disadvantage. I like Klein in this fight. He's stronger and has better cardio. Might be stronger. I'd say their cardio is pretty similar, though. It's basic, but it's not terrible. It's serviceable. Exactly. Isn't dangerous anywhere. Smash the like button, gents. Absolutely. Thank you, bro. I can see a Klein knee right up the middle. I can see that too. RDA caught him with a knee up the middle when he shot a takedown. My pick of Ludovic Klein will be a great pick. There we go. If Ludovic Klein beats Gamrot, he's in line for the title. I don't know about that. Gamrot's chain wrestling and pace in that smaller apex cage is going to be such an annoying nightmare. Probably. But the thing with the chain wrestling in the cage is if you're good in the clinch, it can be negated, because if you get taken down in space, it's easier to get back to the cage because there's less real estate to go to. So if you can find your way back to the cage and be good in the clinch, then you could take over. Then you're in the clinch. Then you can be in the driver's seat. You can push him up against the cage, land some knees, and then you don't have to be at range, defending single legs. I'm picking Juliana Pena to beat Kayla Harrison at UFC 316. Well, there we go. Good luck. Gamrot cardio is great. I disagree. I mean, it's not that great. I mean, watch the fight against Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker was, I mean, he was almost running away. That's how tired he was. Even against Jalen Turner, he looked tired, man. Vegas hates wrestling too. Chain wrestling, swelling his crotch is the path to victory. I mean, it's probably what he's going to try to do, which this was the main event. Yeah, I don't know if I want to watch 5 rounds of Gamrot, though, to be honest. All righty, boys. I think we made our way to the main event. Before we get into any of this, you're in the chat right now. Let me know who would you bet on? Let's just say you got gifted $1,000. You got gifted $1,000. Are you going to bet Macy Barber at plus 200? Or are you going to bet Aaron Blanchfield at minus 250? If you bet $1,000 on Macy Barber, you win $2,000. So you walk away with $3,000. If you bet $1,000 on Aaron Blanchfield, you win $400. You walk away with $1,400. Which one are you betting? Are you betting Macy Barber at plus 200? Or are you betting Aaron Blanchfield at minus 250? Macy Barber, you walk away with $3,000. Aaron Blanchfield, you walk away with $1,400. Aaron minus 5.5 plus 150. I took Barber yesterday. Macy all day. Blanchfield point spread. Blanchfield running through Barber. Aaron, I take the cash and run. Barber, says Ryan. 1,400 is better than 0, says Nick B. So it sounds like he likes the Blanchfield side. You know, there are some aspects to this one that make me a little bit scared. But ultimately, I just think the line is pretty wide, man. I really do. I think Macy Barber is going to give Blanchfield some problems with the physicality because Aaron Blanchfield is she's not a physical girl, man. She's small for the weight class. And what is her best attribute? It's her grappling. Well, she has to get takedowns to use that grappling. And when I look at how successful she is at getting her takedowns, it's not very successful, man. Like, she went 0 for 14 against Tyler Santos, who is a true 125er. She went 0 for 3 against Manon Fiorot. So she's 0 for 17 against girls that are true flyweights or big flyweights. And then she finally gets 2 of her 8 takedown attempts against Rose Namajunas, who is a career strawweight, very small girl. I don't think Aaron Blanchfield is going to have the easiest time getting her takedowns against Macy Barber. And I know Macy Barber's takedown defense on paper doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all, to be honest. It really doesn't. It's 53%. I mean, she's getting taken down by Caitlin Chikagan, her last fight. She got taken down once. Twice by Amanda Hebos. Those were both judo throws. Andrea Lee 5 times. That was probably the worst look. And I actually thought she might have lost that fight, but I watched it back and I think Macy probably won the fight on damage, but still getting taken down 5 times by Andrea Lee is not great. But we have to remember, okay, fighters evolve and fighters have different game plans for every fight. What do they work on for this camp is going to be different for what they work on for the next camp. Obviously, if you're working on a camp for Aaron Blanchfield, you're going to want to stuff takedowns. You're going to want to be able to keep the fight on the feet because if she takes you down, she's probably going to be the better grappler. So I don't know that we can just look and say, she got taken down 5 times by Andrea Lee and be like, well, she's cooked. I don't think it's that simple, man. Like, I think Macy Barber has the physicality to give Aaron Blanchfield a lot of problems in the clinch, and that's usually where Aaron Blanchfield gets her takedowns, is in the clinch. But she's not getting them at a high clip at all. At all. She really has to work for it. So there's the aspect of Macy Barber, career takedown defense, not very good. Aaron Blanchfield's takedown accuracy, not very good. which one's going to be better? If I had to guess, Macy Barber's takedown defense is probably going to be better going up against Erin Blanchfield because she's probably going to be training for it. So I have to give Macy like a little bit of some leeway when it comes to her takedown defense being better. I could only assume it's going to be better, right? The aspect of the striking, I think Macy's probably the more dangerous striker. I think she's way faster on the feet. I think she hits way harder. She's able to switch stances. She can go from southpaw to orthodox, and that's going to help her with defending those takedowns because Erin's not going to have, a 100% read on when she should be able to time the shots because Macy Barber can switch stances. And if you switch stances, it's harder for wrestlers to get a timing because they're going to try to shoot with their head on one side or the other side. And even if you switch stances, you're able to throw them off in that way. So that helps her out a little bit. Macy's the better striker, in my opinion, but Erin Blanchfield is still an effective striker because she walks you down. She throws a lot of volume. There's not a lot of pop on her shots, but she throws a lot of volume and she's durable. So she could take a shot to give a couple. She's active. So that's good for the judges to see. But I think Macy Barber is probably going to land the more eye-catching shots. So the striking, I think, is in favor of Macy Barber. The ground game, jiu-jitsu game, Erin Blanchfield is going to be better. She's just going to be better. And I think Macy's probably going to have to be very cautious on the ground with Erin Blanchfield if the fight does hit the ground, which I do expect at some point the fight's going to hit the ground. So Erin Blanchfield with the jiu-jitsu grappling advantage. Overall, I don't think Macy Barber skill for skill is a plus 200 dog to Erin Blanchfield. It just doesn't make sense to me at all. The intangibles in the fight here that are scaring me a little bit is just because Macy Barber has been off for over a year. She had the health scare. I don't know if she had anything that happened with having to get surgeries or whatever, but I know she had the health scare, and it was to a point where like she even said to her mom or something that she didn't know if she was going to make it. She didn't know if she was going to live. Like, I don't know if she's just overreacting, females tend to do that sometimes, but sounded like it was pretty scary. So that's not great, but there is a lot of history with this matchup where both girls are young, really good prospects who came in at a similar time and have been on a similar trajectory to the top, that it's destined that they were going to fight at some point. I find it hard to believe that Macy Barber would take this fight with Erin Blanchfield knowing that they have the history of the lead up if she wasn't 100%. So I got to believe that Macy Barber's at 100%, or at least what she's at the 100% that she can be at right now. Maybe it's not the 100% that she was before the health scare, but she's at 100% right now. So I really just don't see how Macy Barber should be plus 205 to Erin Blanchfield, man. I just don't see it. I think if it was 3 rounds, I would be all in. I would be all in on Macy Barber at plus 205. But it is 5 rounds, and Erin Blanchfield does tend to put a pace on girls. Macy Barber's never been 5 rounds. Blanchfield's got the 5-round experience, so I could see why Blanchfield would have an edge in that way, considering it's 25 minutes. I think Blanchfield probably does start to have more success as the fight goes on, as Macy Barber gets a little bit more tired. If it was a 3-rounder, I'd be all over Macy Barber at plus 205, but the 5 rounds does change it a little bit. If anything, if you like the Blanchfield side, dude, I would probably just say live bet it. Live bet it after round 1. Blanchfield is not a hot starter. She honestly tends to struggle a lot in round 1 because if she just starts walking you down right away, girls are fresh and they can hit a lot harder and they're going to be a lot faster than her. She kind of has to feel her way into the fight and then start to take over. So if you like the Blanchfield side, I'd say probably live bet it or take Blanchfield by decision or rounds 4 or 5 or decision, something like that. But overall, I think Macy Barber at plus 205 is a solid line, man. I think could be the way that I go. Over 4.5 at minus 230 is not terrible either. I think it probably does go to a decision. Both girls never been finished. Both girls are pretty high level. I think, if Barber gets a finish, it's probably some type of TKO early or Blanchfield with some type of submission late. Let's see what you guys got to say. Aaron will wrestle her for 5 rounds. It's not going to be for 5 rounds, I could tell you that. Aaron's not that good, though. You think this fight has potential not to go the distance? Has potential, but I don't know that it's very high. Aaron looks so bad versus Fierro. I'll never bet her after that. I bet on Fierro in that fight. That was the easiest money you'll ever see. Barber, no takedown defense, coming off massive layoff, healthcare, and cosmetic surgery. She fails to get takedowns sometimes. Barber strong AF. She is very physical, dude. Barber got that thick chick strength and power, but she's been sick and just returning. Careful with this one. Probably Nascimento and Klein. What up? Love the breakdowns. Appreciate you, brother. It was that simple with Mason Jones against Stevens. I don't know what that means. She got held in a crucifix by Andrea Lee. Not just taken down. Lee took her down with the same takedown Islam got Dustin with. We also have to remember, man, she fought Andrea Lee before Andrea Lee was like really bad. Like Andrea Lee was a ranked fighter who came off a loss against Viviane Araujo, but it was like a very competitive fight. Like Andrea Lee wasn't the Andrea Lee that had lost 5 fights in a row at the time. Barber will knock her out. Macy doesn't just accept bottom position either. She doesn't accept bottom position. She does, try to work through it. I just don't know if that's going to zap her gas tank or anything. I thought she did too. I was there live. I thought Andrea Lee might have won that. Macy's training in a low-level gym right now. She's not even getting rounds in with UFC fighters except Tabitha Ricci. Female DDP. She left Team Alpha Male. She hasn't been at Alpha Male for years. Maddie going to take Aaron sub. In the last year, she's been in and out of the hospital. Yeah, she's been training at high altitude martial arts in Colorado for the last year. She had a complete foot surgery, was on crutches in January. Factor MMA, who are you talking about? I remember the foot surgery and the blood disorder. Overall, man, I think Macy Barber at plus 205 is the value side, but I could see her losing a 48-47 decision. If it goes to a decision and Macy wins the first couple rounds and then Blanchfield starts to take over, but I really don't see why Blanchfield should be at minus 240. I think it's a bit rich, considering she's a girl that needs grappling success to win, and she doesn't have very good wrestling. She just doesn't. So that's true, Paul. Macy's got those nasty elbows. I think if Blanchfield shoots a takedown and ends up in the clinch, Macy's pretty nasty in that clinch. Turn her around, land some elbows. We'll see. What's Barber plus 5.5, minus 180? That's not terrible. Excuse me. I'm going to be pissed if Aaron gets a sub and Barber stays under the strikes. That's another thing, boys. Macy Barber only absorbs 2.9 significant strikes per minute. Very efficient. She lands 4.7, absorbs 2.9. Blanchfield, on the other hand, absorbs 4.21 compared to the 5.24 that she lands. Yeah, boys, I think Macy Barber at plus 205 looks pretty solid to me. And that's it. That's going to do it, boys. I'm going to hop out of here. I appreciate y'all for joining. We went through the entire UFC Vegas 107 card. We had a couple rough spots where Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Sergey Spivak was the topic of conversation. But we got through it. We gave you some angles. Time to lock in some bets. I'll get the official picks video out to you guys tomorrow. Those are the gun to your head picks. We got the best bets video on Thursday, and then we got the long shots only live show on Friday. If you want all my bets, jump in the Home of Five Picks premium membership. There's a link down in the description below. That's where you're going to get all my plays. I got the DFS plays locked in. I got a bet locked in already for this Saturday. More bets will be locked in throughout the week. Should be a fun week. We get fights again on Saturday. I appreciate y'all boys for joining, and girls, maybe girls. Who knows? But we're going to hop out of here now. Appreciate y'all. Until next time. Hey, job picks.